If you take people like Jay-Z and Pusha T, they made their living killing our people. So how the stand up?
All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them.
It's full of homo hating ass. It's like they got this new breed of rapper that's paying DJs to play this shit. You know what I'm saying? They sucking the record label executive dicks, and it's like there's too much of that going on. Right. You know what I'm saying? Let me be me. Let me be the artist that I am and just play my mother. You get me?
It was the longest 12 hours of my life. Like, I was just waiting downstairs, and I was like, get the contract on here. I want to sign. I was so hyped. I didn't sleep for the next 3 days.
There is no Illuminati. It's just a joke. It's just something that crazy people talk about. There's no such thing as our side and God's side.
For years, people have whispered that the names at the very top don't just make hits, they make people disappear. And Kenny said it plainly. You don't take people by accident, you take them by design, and you don't climb that high without stepping over someone. Somehow, it's never the quiet billionaires who take the public fall. And while jokes about gatekeepers and handlers once felt harmless, seeing the same faces linked to every scandal and every fallen star makes it feel less like coincidence. Then Katt reminds everyone this was never about one reckless mogul with too many parties, but about an industry that plays by different rules, where certain men stay protected no matter the headlines. Suddenly, rumors of secret rooms, silent deals, and careers traded for loyalty don't sound so ridiculous when you look at who's still standing after every storm, with one name sitting at the center that people are suddenly afraid to say out loud. So tonight, this isn't about selling a conspiracy. It's about placing familiar stories side by side and asking a simple question for yourself. If Diddy was just the face of the chaos, who was really running the show behind him?
If you take people like Jay-Z and T, they made their living killing our people. So how to stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, Beyonce had the best fit for somebody else? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, if they told the truth, they'd go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars. Man. Liars are now the face of our culture.
When Kenny talks about someone using the machinery, it's not just shade, it's a statement about a pattern. From his early days under executives like Lear Cohen at Def Jam to strategic moves across sports, tech, and streaming, Jay has always been positioned right alongside the people writing the biggest checks. He's never just another artist in the building. He's the one the building eventually bends around. That's why fans began seeing that Marina Abramovic performance differently, not just a rapper in a gallery with a world-famous artist, but knowing her history and the symbolism she wields, a quiet signal of the rooms Jay was already moving in. While everyone else argued over radio singles, he was signaling the circles he belonged to.
Harley passing, they follow me to the hotel. Then they killed Aaron Carter, and now they acting like they won't kill a Backstreet Boy sample. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Harley Pasternak, Pusha, your trainer. Harley Pasternak, Jay-Z. You get what I'm saying? And then around for the money on some Mike Rubin, slap the shit Mike Rubin. I see that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, I'm on my Farrakhan Don now, bro, because guess what? These Yeezys gonna sell. They sabotage the show today.
When Kenny talks about being threatened with getting sent back to zombie land, it fits a larger pattern. Powerful men surround themselves with experts who shape narratives, control appearances, and keep community voices muted, socially or otherwise. When someone stops playing their role in that system, the real power isn't in the loud friend whose name trends during a scandal. It's in the figure always just off camera, orchestrating partnerships, sanctioning the rituals, and walking away untouched while everyone else ends up in the headlines. The clearest way to see who truly matters in a crisis is to watch who rushes toward the fire and who quietly steps aside.
I love when famous people think they can delete a post and it's going to go away forever. Honey, we saved your post. Lizzo, the woman that has been accused of SA by 3 of her employees, got on the internet trying to defend Jay-Z. And you know, those accusations about Jay-Z, yeah, it's related to the Epstein list. Don't worry, Lizzo, I saved the post. I'm going to make sure that everybody sees it.
In the comments, I knew she was wrong. Jay-Z, I knew he was... What did it say Jay-Z did? He was there in 1996? Come on, people. Like, y'all are falling for it. It's the easiest, oldest trick in the book. And honestly, I'm losing faith in the average intelligence of the American person.
Wait, are you suggesting that you're smarter than the average American person because you're famous? Anyways, go on.
Just because somebody's name is mentioned in a 3 million document file of a person's life who's been lived over crimes who've spanned decades, doesn't mean that every single person is an accomplice. He could be mentioned. He referenced Jay-Z once. He was like, oh, we could learn from Jay-Z's business model. Where's the crime? Focus.
I bet whoever does your PR had a straight up meltdown when they saw that you made this post, because there are claims against you that are so bad I can't detail them in this video. Yeah, and everybody has been wondering for years why Jay-Z gets to walk free while everybody around him seems to get in trouble. And then here you are getting on the internet trying to defend him. Well, I hope from this little event, this little you posting the video, taking it down, that you will realize the internet is forever, and lots of us love to use our phone storage.
When Jay's name surfaced in those newly released documents, the internet did what it always does: screenshots, hashtags, instant judgments. In the middle of the storm, Lizzo stepped on camera and did something most in her position wouldn't dare. She questioned the pylon, asked for the actual proof, and told millions they were overreacting. She reminded everyone that being listed in a stack of files doesn't make anyone automatically guilty, and context matters more than headlines. But while one celebrity defended him loudly, the silent moves told a different story. Fans noticed who quietly unfollowed Jay-Z on Instagram after the documents dropped: Rihanna, Kim Kardashian, Tina Knowles, Kelly Rowland, even corporate accounts like Apple Music and the NFL. No press releases, no statements, just distance. Brand protection moving faster than loyalty. That contrast is telling. On one side, a star risking reputation to say people are reading too much into his name. On the other, a circle of family, collaborators, and billion-dollar partners deciding overnight that proximity is too risky. If Diddy were just another celebrity in trouble, you wouldn't see this level of calculation around who stands beside him. The way people shift around Jay when tensions rise reveals exactly how high his name sits, and the part that makes people uneasy isn't the rumors themselves, it's how often the same names appear around young artists right before their lives change forever.
Yo, don't put up no movies. I said, that's not my style. That's not what I'm going to do. Yeah, I could have put up movies. I could have showed the R. Kelly video that everybody's talking about, made fun of it, and said, yo, Jay's hanging out. When Jay and I was in there playing Basketball World, you can't tell me Jay didn't see a 14-year-old girl come in the studio and shit on R. Kelly's lap. You can't tell me, you won't sit here and tell me that working on that album that he ain't never seen no 14-year-old girl come in the vicinity?
My belief is that anybody who's worked with him and been in his cipher has seen it go down.
You've seen it go down.
Yeah.
When Nas talks about who was in the studio and who was in the crowd back in the day, he's not giving a courtroom testimony. He's capturing how casual those spaces used to feel. Veteran hitmakers, teenagers on the brink of stardom, late-night sessions where no one cared about optics or age gaps, just making the record and chasing the next big moment. Now, compare that to Rihanna's story, a teenage girl thrust into a whole new world, sitting in front of one of music's most powerful men, signing life-altering papers, and later admitting she didn't sleep for 3 days because of what she'd just agreed to. When she laughs nervously about being told how to talk, act, and whose names to thank on stage, you're hearing the softer side of the same reality. For some, the dream felt more like being drafted into someone else's long-term plan. Taken individually, these moments might be dismissed as industry lore, tough contracts, or nerves. But when the same older figure keeps appearing at the center, always on the winning side of the power imbalance, it raises the question: was it luck, or a calculated understanding of exactly how much control came with being the man in the room? The stories that sting the most aren't the loudest. They're the ones that make familiar footage feel different the next time you watch it.
Speaking of PTSD, you made a comment about this. Like, this was from the Super Bowl appearance more recently. This bothered you, seeing her put the Rockefellers logo out there.
If you
what was
go
your
back
instinct to that?
and watch, it was almost as if she didn't want to put her hands up, and then she looked over where Jay-Z's box was, and then you just see her hand. She look at her. She's looking at his box. She didn't want to do it. She didn't even want to do that gig. But the hold, especially the financial hold with the companies and all of the money and all of the strings that he pulled to. He treats these women like shell corporations.
Is that why this happened? Do you have any insight on this infamous elevator video where Solange was seen just unloading on him? Beyonce's there as well.
What I will say is, right there, that's the moment when he told her to back up and called her Tito Jackson.
Respect and love to Tito Jackson, who we just lost recently.
I know. Tito could never get a break, and he's the nicest guy.
But here, yeah, Jay-Z trying to mimic, she's not worthy, she's nobody, is what he's trying to do.
Pretty much is what he pretty much said to her. But the thing is there was infidelity that was happening that night. Both of them got caught doing things they weren't supposed to do. I believe there might have been some DV that happened. And people who know Mr. Carter knows he doesn't have a problem with putting his hands on his wife. Plenty of people know that to be true. Solange is different.
Allegedly,
Solange is different. She's old school Southern, and she loves her big sister, even when her big sister makes mistakes. She stood up for her sister. The most interesting thing about that, though, can we look at that one more time, Andy? They come in, and all of this, and then look, it almost looks like he's going to defend himself, but instead he prostrates himself, right? He lets Solange go nuts, and he sits there and acts. He knows that camera's there. He knows where all the cameras are in that place. There's another footage, and I'll get it and I'll send it to you, of him with another woman approaching him aggressively, or it seemed like aggressively, and he stabbed the crap out of her. Matter of fact, there's at least 5 different shows over the course of the past 15 years where he has physically women that came into his space that he didn't want anywhere near him. So I find it funny that in all those other instances, he had no problem with putting his hands on a woman to so-called defend himself. But when he's getting killed alive with cameras there, all of a sudden now he's meek and mild. I think that was a setup. I think he did that specifically to handle up on Solange.
When Jaguar Wright talks about Rihanna following Jay's every command because of his temper, she's asking you to watch years of footage through a different lens. Suddenly, what looked like politeness reads more like survival. In her telling, Rihanna and Beyonce aren't just proteges, they're women learning the precise tone, the measured smile, the calculated silence that keeps the center of the room from erupting. And that elevator moment with Solange stops feeling like a random incident. It becomes the one time someone in that family publicly pushed back at the man. Off camera, no one ever checked.
A lot of people have been hitting me about, how could Jaguar Wright know all these things, right? And how, Jaguar Wright hasn't worked with Jay-Z since, when she did the Unplugged. That's a long time ago. Well, I can tell you just from what I've experienced is the people that have contacted me since I've done like your show and since I've done other shows, people have contacted me, other victims, and have sent me. Obviously, there's been some people that have sent me stuff that, doesn't check out or whatever, but victims have contacted me and they have sent me proof that can never be disputed, photos, everything else, because they don't want to bring their story out, but they like what we're doing. So they're whistleblowing, but they're doing quietly to protect their jobs and to protect their families and to protect, whatever. They're not comfortable speaking out. So if I've got all kinds of information in the last 2 months, just from doing, shows like you guys, I can't imagine all the stuff that Jaguar Wright has got and to her and the access that she's seen and the people who have came to her. Like, she has such a bigger reach and such a bigger audience than me.
Then Jonathan Hay, Rihanna's former publicist, steps in from a completely different angle and quietly fills in the blanks. He doesn't repeat Jaguar's most shocking claims. He doesn't need to. All he does is confirm that far more was happening behind the scenes than the public ever saw, and that key decisions about Rihanna's image, relationships, and career moves were never truly hers to make. When the person tasked with polishing her story admits the truth was darker and more controlled than anyone realized, Jay starts to look less like a husband or mentor and more like a director who never steps into the frame but calls cut on everyone else's life. You don't have to take every detail at face value, but together, the woman who witnessed the pattern firsthand and the professional who could only hint at it, the picture becomes harder to dismiss as ordinary celebrity drama. It begins to read like the work of a mastermind, someone who keeps the brand flawless, the partners useful, and the pressure so relentless that even the world's biggest stars move around him, like one misstep could cost them everything. Another pattern emerges in these stories, one that has nothing to do with gossip, who walks away unscathed when everything goes sideways. And trust me, you don't see that lineup on camera.
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit different. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
Yeah, shout out D. Haven. He actually hit us up, wanted to tell this story.
You need to talk to D. Haven.
Yeah, we need to talk to him.
I told you that last year when I put you on the phone with him.
You did.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Katt Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened. And yet, they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it. Mm-hmm. Think of the power of that moment. Think about Claudia Jordan right now. Claudia Jordan don't ever mention my mother name. She mentioned it yesterday. Talking about why people are afraid to come forward. You mean like you? You was Diddy girl. Corey was Jay-Z girl. Why don't you claim your friend? Claudia.
So, Jack, when you say...
When I say Corey, I'm talking about Kathy White.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was about to ask.
Jay-Z's pregnant mistress.
Yeah.
Who died of an imaginary aneurysm.
When Jaguar breaks down how certain men around Jay, D. Haven, Dame Dash, Old Flames, and now Diddy always seem to end up as the face of the problem, she's really describing a pattern. Deals are made, boundaries are crossed, pressure builds, and when it finally blows up, someone is always closer to the blast than Jay. According to her, that's not bad luck. It's strategy. Loud, flashy personalities get put out front. They get to live the chaos, and when the reckoning comes, they become the story, while the architect quietly reorganizes and moves on. The timeline often seems to back this up. Every time a partner's name becomes too heavy, street associates, business allies, even powerful moguls, you see the same cycle. Distance, rebranding, a new chapter painting Jay as older, wiser, focused on legacy. The old chapter closes around someone else's mistakes, and the empire keeps growing. You can decide how much of Jaguar's version you believe, but when you compare her account with who dominates headlines today versus who is still negotiating billion-dollar deals, it raises an uncomfortable question. Did Jay just get incredibly lucky, or has he always known exactly where to place people so he never has to stand in that spot himself? One thing Katt has been consistent about across every era is this: whatever is happening at the top is never random.
Okay. Some of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment. When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them. End quote.
We all love Dave Chappelle.
Exactly. Dave Chappelle has never been a part of the Illuminati. They don't want him or me or people like us.
Yeah.
But now it's not necessary for us to stir up that hornet's nest unless we intend to get stung 1,000,000 times. I didn't understand that. They had to sting me 1,000,000 times.
Right.
I'm still not going to join, but I respect it a little more.
When he talks about some of us choosing to fight back, even at the cost of everything, he's drawing a clear line between two kinds of careers: those who play by the unwritten rules and rise to the top, and those who resist, only to be quietly pushed aside. There's no our side or God's side. He admits that at one point, he even joked about there being no secret team running things, and the silence he received spoke volumes. Nobody corrected him, nobody laughed it off. It felt less like disagreement and more like people waiting to see if he would eventually fall in line. The depth of a system becomes obvious when you watch what happens to those who step off the script.
I am strong. This happened to me. I didn't cause this. I didn't do it. This happened to me, and it can happen to anybody. There are a lot of women who've experienced what I did, but not in the public. So it made it really difficult. I just felt like, oh my God, here goes my little bit of privacy. Just people exposed, like something that nobody wants anybody to know. So here I am, the whole world knowing.
Why be ashamed?
Because that I didn't want people to think that that's the kind of person I fell in love with. That person. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing that that's the type of person that I fell in love with. So far in love, so unconditional that I went back.
On average, I think it takes a woman 7 times before she leaves.
8 or 9, actually. And I don't want that to happen. That's not what I want to teach people. But again, people, I'm a human being, and people put me on a very unrealistic pedestal and all these expectations. I'm not perfect. Also, it's pretty natural for that to be the first reaction. It's completely normal to go back. You start lying to yourself. The minute the physical wounds go away, you want this thing to go away. This is a memory you don't want to have ever again.
That sit-down was meant to be a clean redemption moment, but the way it was presented did something different. It froze him in time. He became the problem, the cautionary tale, the example, while the machine knows exactly how to amplify one person's worst chapter until it eclipses everything else. And take note of who never gets framed that way, no matter how many rumors swirl around their name.
Everyone in the backdrop knew that he was the celebrity John Doe. Everybody knew that. They knew it when I did Pierce Morgan.
Is Beyonce celebrity B?
I hope to God not. But she was around.
Mm.
And she's very... she's got enough on her plate. After everything that happened with the election and everything that's happening right now, I'm not going to dump on that woman. She got better fish to fry.
Well,
what I
look.
will say is that her husband, she knows exactly who he is.
Jaguar's point isn't just that Bianca knew. It's that empires like that aren't built by accident. Partners, spouses, proteges, they all absorb the same unspoken rule. Protect the brand at any cost, even if it means swallowing things you'd never tolerate from anyone else. That's how one image stays flawless while the careers around it rise and fall.
The diva Rihanna. She's from Barbados? Yeah. Okay. Okay, she's Bayesian. How did you come in contact with her? I mean, did you fly over there?
No, Jay Brown had actually bought me the song. She had a song right now that's I wouldn't say massive because of her rules. When I first heard the song, and then, he kept going, Jay Brown, he kept being persistent. I was like, you know what, bring her by. And when she walked into our office, I was like, she just had, it was just something about her. It was just, she had this, it was just something about it. And then she performed the song, and I was like, okay. Okay. Then, we sat down and we talked, and they were talking about how she would stay in the studio and try to get the verse over and then come back the next day. I was like, oh, work ethic.
Okay.
Everything is there. So we signed it that night. We didn't let her leave the office.
Really?
The 3 a.m. was when that contract got signed. So from the meeting around 3, 4 in the afternoon, we signed it by 3 a.m. Wow. That day I was absolutely certain.
You. Oh yes, he said, we don't sing songs here, we sing artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there was this sudden feel of relief. But then he said something about a window and a door. Oh, then he said, he did it a little more. I did a lot of homework on you, this lady. He said, there are 2 ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
You rewind to that clip of teenage Rihanna, nervously laughing through the deal, pretending that being spoken to a certain way was just part of the job. To a kid, it probably felt normal. Everyone around her treated it like business as usual. But to adults watching now, it reads differently. A moment where a powerful man decided exactly how her story would be told and how small she had to make herself to fit inside it. Taken together, these aren't smoking guns, they are patterns. Public sacrifices and private loyalty, young stars reshaped to fit one man's vision, a partner who, according to those nearby, always knew more than he could ever say. If Diddy looked like the reckless boss, this version paints Jay as something quieter, far more dangerous to question. The architect you're never supposed to name, even after years living inside his design. Eventually, the question stops being what he did and becomes, what kind of rooms was he always standing in?
Jay-Z used to have transgender women on there. On the tour bus, he knows that. He knows that Jay-Z used to prefer transgender women. So I don't know why. I wish Dame Dash would come out and, say everything, but maybe in his own way, he's trying to, protect the hip hop culture and knows how many people could be crushed if he came out and really spoke about Jay-Z's secrets.
Did you personally see Jay-Z with transgender women? You personally?
I have, correct.
Can you speak on maybe in what aspect? Is it music video or outside of music videos?
It was during it was during the tour. It was during the tour with the Mill, DMX, Jay-Z.
The Hard Knock Life.
No.
Or maybe a different one.
Yeah, they had the documentary for it. What was that called? I'll think of it. I'll think of it here in a little bit.
Yeah, it was a documentary, backstage or the
backstage with the Mill and all that. I used to work with her, and I definitely. It was unmistakable. In 2024, the trans women are, it can be hard. Like a lot of people that, you know, they don't know. But back then it wasn't as advanced, and you could clearly tell, you know, that was a guy.
When Rihanna's former publicist talks about the secrets Dame Dash could reveal, he isn't describing a typical work friendship. He's hinting at a side of Jay-Z the public never sees. Preferences, habits, late-night routines that never make it into lyrics or documentaries, but were well known to those who moved in his circle. It's another reminder that the Jay-Z the world knows, a polished family man and business mogul, is just one carefully edited version of the story.
Allegedly, the song Daughter on Beyonce's Cowboy Carter album.
I love that one.
Well, it's potentially a murder confession about Jay-Z's mistress, Kathy White.
What?
Yeah, buckle up. On August 28th, 2011, Beyonce announced her pregnancy at the MTV VMAs.
Iconic.
On January 7th, 2012,
Hughes' whispers about Beyonce being drawn into clean-up duty for other people's drama only underline the point. Whether every detail is true or not, the rumor reflects how the couple is perceived. As a unit willing to do whatever it takes to keep their legacy untouchable, even if it means standing beside stories they would never address publicly.
Longest 12 hours of my life. Like, I was just waiting downstairs and I was like, get the contract down here. I want to sign. I was so hyped. I didn't sleep for the next 3 days.
At that time,
It's a
correct?
15-year-old girl who had been flown to the United States without parental supervision or a chaperone, brought to a grown man's office in a large corporate Manhattan building. Everybody knew when she flew in. I was there the day she got signed. Everyone was talking about it. And the 6 hours that she spent with him, and the 4 hours that she spent alone with him with no parental supervision. Her father didn't show up to the next day to come and collect the check.
Well, and there's
This is her life.
The rumors were even beyond that, right? That Jay-Z was cheating on Beyonce with her when she was
Very much
17
so.
is what a lot of this came out through a
From that first team from Pound the Replay and replaced with all new handlers and kept sheltered in Los Angeles, where she was going out to parties and partying at 15, 16, 17 years old, hanging out at the Rainbow Room, hanging out. Yeah, like it was one of my friends who found out she was 17 when everyone thought she was 21. And he was like, yo, why do y'all got me carrying this girl around? And she's, oh, it's cool.
Well, but just to echo and support you, like they had to debunk that. Oh, we apologize. It wasn't real. We made it up in hopes of giving her single a boost.
Yeah, they
Like,
promised
what?
Jonathan a deal working at Tidal and something, and then they reneged. And then the next thing you know, he was caught in a home invasion robbery while he was working on the Drake secret baby mama story, Sophie. He was duct taped him and his daughter, and he was pow whipped in front of his child. So, you know, there's a lot that goes on in the backdrop.
Jaguar's account makes that feeling even heavier. She paints a picture of a girl barely out of childhood, left alone with a superstar for hours, no real protection, no real supervision, while a chorus of adults later shrugged, saying, well, she was 17. Whether you take every detail at face value or not, the pattern is clear. The room is always arranged to give one person total leverage, leaving the younger figure grateful just to be there. Jay's never brags about any of this. That's the point. In every version, from Rihanna's nerves to Jaguar's warnings to the absent adults, he isn't the loud presence in the frame. He's the constant in the background, the one the room revolves around. For many viewers, that's what a mastermind looks like in real life. Not the loudest man at the party, but the one controlling who gets invited, how long they stay, and what it costs them to leave. Looking back over the last 20 years, the most revealing moments aren't the scandals. They're the small slips where the power dynamic is exposed in real time.
He was after Beyonce when she was before 18, correct? I mean, as we go through the timeline, they claim, oh no, I didn't, well, I met him at 18 and then we waited till I was 19, but they knew each other when she was like 15, 16, correct? He clearly had eyes, and it's not the only one, right? There's Aaliyah as well. I was looking at these photos. There's a history
But
of
Aaliyah,
this, right?
definitely. A lot of people don't realize the timeline, but after everything went bad with Robert Kelly and he had to divorce Aaliyah, Jay-Z was interested while she was still underage. And as she started spending more time in New York, he was very, very, very right there. She didn't want that. She didn't want that with him. And if there's one thing I can tell you about Sean Carter, being embarrassed and being rejected are things he does not handle.
Jaguar's claim is straightforward and unsettling. Jay didn't just happen into relationships with Bianca, Aaliyah, and Rihanna. He targeted a very specific type at a very specific point in their lives. And the one who didn't play along, Aaliyah, never received the protected, carefully managed narrative the others did. She's not merely calling him a ladies' man. She's depicting someone who understood the power of being the man who discovers you, shapes your image, and controls both your rise and your silence.
Dad, I know I promised you I'm gonna give you my first Grammy, but we might have to fight for this one.
She said she wanted to thank everybody for her first Grammy.
Anyway, I'd like to thank Jay-Z for being a part of this record with me.
She liked to thank Jigga Man for being the greatest in the world.
Ellen Reed, Steve Bartles, Tata, Jay Brown, Karen Kwok for finding this amazing record. Tricky, Dream for writing such a beautiful record.
You can glimpse a subtler form of that control in that Grammy moment. Rihanna stands there, trophy in hand, and it's clear how carefully she's being guided, not just to thank fans or her team, but a very specific circle of men around Jay. On stage, it reads as respect. Under the lens of this context, it looks more like choreography. Public gratitude designed to remind everyone watching exactly who put her there and how much she still owes them.
All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them.
That's why Katt's 6-second warning hits so hard now, long before the documents dropped and timelines were pieced together. He looked straight into the camera and said it was coming for the big players, the ones everyone whispered about but nobody dared to name. He'd already laid it out. This business runs on alliances, secrets, and shortcuts, and eventually the bill comes due. Diddy going down first fits that pattern too neatly. The loudest face in the chaos taking the initial blow while the calmer billionaire behind him keeps walking like nothing changed. But if Katt was right about the parties, the gatekeepers, and the club they protect, this could be just the opening chapter, not the final one. So the real questions land squarely on your shoulders. If Diddy is the one taking the public fall, does that make Jay-Z an innocent bystander, or the quiet architect Katt has been hinting it all along? And as more receipts, unfollows, and old interviews resurface, can you still chalk it up to jealousy and conspiracy? Or are we watching Katt's prediction play out in real time? If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Until then, fam, stay sharp.